the person who detonated that in the movie was Prince Charles, now King Charles.
Oh, was it?
Who did
Wow.
that, yeah. Him and Diana.
Back when they were on good terms.
Went to this... Oh, probably not. Hello, and welcome to the For Your Ears Only podcast. Today, we are back. This is the return of the podcast into its normal format for the first time of 2024. And we are returning with a new name, a new Bond, Timothy Dalton. And today we are looking at The Living Daylights from 1987, directed by John Glenn. I've not got that written down, so that's just from memory.
Good.
And yes, we'd like to welcome you back. We hope you all had a nice festive time and you're back to some serious Bond from the 80s.
I hope
and
Santa
that's
was
what we're
good
going
to you.
to do today. We probably just came back off our very first interview, so if you've not looked at that, go back onto the catalogue and watch it. It is with Matthew Bauer, the director of The Other Fellow, which came out in 2022.
Fantastic film.
But that's for you to do after this episode.
Yes.
So as I said, we're going to go on to The Living Daylights 1987. And before we hear our thoughts, we have the tradition of the 2 minutes. To dust off those cobwebs, or blow off those cobwebs.
Oh, no.
This is a hard movie to get through in 2 minutes, and Jack's challenge is to summarise the movie in 2 minutes, unlike my failure in the last episode for A View to a Kill, where I failed, ironically. So,
dear.
This
is a hard one because there's a lot happens and a lot that I don't need to speak about as well.
Well, you don't need to speak about it then. I'll be the judge of what needs to be spoken about. So, why don't you just let me know when you're ready, and then I will start the 2 minute timer and you can discuss.
Okay, let's just go for it.
So, this is Jacques Olivier describing The Living Daylights in 2 minutes. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so the film opens with a 00 training exercise in Gibraltar, where one of the 00s ends up being killed, and we find out it's the Russians. Then we go to the titles. So the main film opens with James Bond trying to facilitate a defection for a Russian general to the west. There's an assassin. It's a girl. He decides not to kill her because she's just an amateur. Then we get back to the west. We end up in London, and this defected General Koskov is telling everybody that the Russians are out to kill the spies. Or are they? And then just at that, the KGB kidnap him again, take him away to Moscow. Or do they? And James Bond has been told that he has to kill the new KGB leader because he's obviously behind this. Or is he? And then James Bond goes off and finds the girl and finds out that that girl is actually the girlfriend of this defective Koskov. And turns out that when they face this new general, that he's actually not trying to kill spies. Koskov is actually embezzling money from the KGB with the help of an American arms dealer. Then somehow we end up in Afghanistan, where James Bond is trapped. He escapes the jail with the girl who's now on his side. Koskov is obviously the bad guy. An aeroplane flies into him and he somehow survives. And then James Bond goes back to Tangier to kill Brad, the American's arms dealer. He gets killed. Koskov gets handed back to the KGB, and they live happily ever after.
Cool. We had 9 seconds left. That was fairly summarised. There was a lot of bits where you went, or did he?
Which is right.
The plane was full of heroin as well.
You
just said he was hit by a plane.
Well, he was.
Was he hit by a plane?
Yeah, he was in the truck, remember, and the plane
ran through him,
goes into him, and then he somehow survives.
Oh, right.
Which we'll get onto.
Yes.
Because that was stupid.
That was actually well done, Jack. Well done.
There was a lot of the film that we missed. We missed the major ski fight.
That wasn't integral
Ferris wheel, but I can't quite remember how they end up in Afghanistan. Or what? And I forgot about the diamonds and heroin, but those aren't essential because I don't even know what they're
Why
about.
did they go to Afghanistan? Actually, no, they go to Afghanistan because they're smuggling the diamonds in. They get taken to Afghanistan because they're smuggling the diamonds in to trade for heroin.
Or is it the other way around? No, yeah. I can't.
Yes. Yeah, the
Russians want the
Mujahideen.
heroin.
The Mujahideen, I don't really know how Timothy Dalton,
Knows them.
well, no, it's the way I don't know, the way he describes the name, pronounces it. Yeah.
Pronounces
I
the
don't know why I lost that word from my head.
Mujahideen or whatever.
The Mujahideen. No, the Mujahideen. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. But yeah, they were exchanging the heroin for diamonds.
To this Russian Koskov
Yes.
who's getting the heroin to sell. But he's financing that through
Brad
and KGB money stolen.
Something like that.
Nobody
There was
really
something
knows.
shady going on. Yeah, I thought it was quite difficult to follow. Then I couldn't follow this as a child, but I could understand a bit of it as it was going on.
I think that's the main thing for me as a kid. I didn't quite understand the plot. I don't really have many memories of this film, but I do remember it being a bit convoluted and I didn't understand it.
There's a bit
But I did like it.
when I was younger when he puts the knife into the Hessian bag and then pulls it out. As a child, I was like, "Is it chocolate?
What the
Heroin?
Heroin is like chocolate for adults."
Yeah. So, yeah. What did you think of the movie?
On this recent viewing, I very, very much liked it.
Yeah,
Very, very much liked
I've always liked it. I think it's pretty strong. There's not not really a point where you're like, what's happening now? What's happening now? It is quite energetic. There's a lot of strong points with this movie, and comparing it with Roger's movies, it's like a different genre.
Yeah, it's very night and day, especially, we'll probably get into it, but the actors are very, very different. He's also a Shakespearean actor.
Yeah.
And he's
Timothy Dalton is not funny.
serious guy. There is some funny scenes in it, like the cello down the mountain scene.
But that's not Roger's eyebrow funny.
Yeah, true. There is some funny, like, light-hearted bits, but it's definitely a more serious Bond. What I've kind of got from this viewing was that he comes across as a sort of an agent who's been in the game for such a long time.
Too long.
And he's like, eye rolls at any time M says anything, and he's like, just fire me, I don't care anymore. I've been doing this job for 25 years. I want to get out.
I just want the severance and let me go, please.
Yeah, he comes across as like a well-travelled agent who's just, he knows what he's doing. He knows the exact kind of like bullets. He's like, no, don't use those bullets, use those bullets. He's like, fixes the guy's helmet, and he's like, just his binoculars. He just seems to be like a well-seasoned guy who knows what he's doing, a professional basically.
Yeah, I think there was a lot with that because when they were trying to bring people on, did you know the thing about Pierce Brosnan for this?
Yeah, kind of. I know now more about it than I did.
Because it was Pierce Brosnan, and then he was pulled. It was something like there was a 60-day window with what TV show was he in?
Remington Steele.
Yeah, thought it was like a razor. On that show, they had a 60-day thing where Pierce Brosnan was going to become that, and he'd be out of contract after 60 days.
And
on
then
the
he'd be
55th day, because he had the script and everything, that was all going to go ahead. On the 55th day, they wrote more episodes about, no, you need to stay. And Timothy Dalton had already been asked and said yes, but then they wanted Pierce Brosnan and they went back to Timothy Dalton. And I think they asked Timothy, they said, we want you to be nothing like Roger. This is the 80s. Okay. We want you to be quite aggressive and quite violent almost. And he went back and like read all the novels to try and be more like that. And he was like, I want James Bond to show emotion. And I was like, and they just crushed the balloon.
Yeah,
like,
crushing the balloon. He nearly loses it.
The guy that gets shot by a door. Why'd you get killed by a door? But yeah, I think that was where the whole casting thing came from with Timothy Dalton. But
I liked the Timothy Dalton thing. I think we actually spoke about it, where he was initially asked at like
I was Majesty's
on
Secret
Majesty's
Service.
Secret
Yeah.
Service, but he was in his early 20s and he was like not old enough yet.
He said
And then he
himself,
was-
I'm too young.
Then
to
he was
play
asked
this.
again for Live and Let Die, I think, and he said it's still not right. And then I'm pretty sure I read last night, it might have been, that he was, when Roger was out of contract and he kept signing on for the one more film, every time they would ask Timothy, and he was like, I'm too busy to do it.
I think he was doing things in America, doing movies there.
So he could really have been Bond from like 81, which
I think it would have worked though, yeah.
thinking back, For Your Eyes Only, which you said is the sort of boring one, is the sort of serious Roger. Maybe it was more suited for Timothy Dalton. Just thinking off the cuff there. But then it does get a bit silly again.
Yeah. I think with Timothy Dalton, it doesn't appear to be as... It doesn't have the... Definitely not the same, like, womanizing as, like, Roger and Sean.
Yeah.
Like, he's met this woman, as far as I'm concerned, he's going to marry this woman. Like, there's no one else.
He only cares about this one woman who has a boyfriend.
Yeah,
But still.
it has a boyfriend.
But he's a bad guy.
Yeah. I thought the plot was really good. I liked that, and I liked the fact that the start of the movie was taken from
The novel.
the
short story.
with it, and I thought it worked really well in how they embellished that. There was a lot of characters, a lot of travelling around. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's just our age. Like, we're used to, like, violent action movies, and we grew up on that, and it kind of just worked really well, because it was violent, but not overly violent.
No. Well, I texted you last night and said, how's this a PG film when that guy's getting his face on the grill?
Oh yeah, actually.
And then something else happens that's really violent, and I was like, well, the guy...
No, the door, and there was
crushes
blood
that
all
guy.
over the glass.
And then he uses his headphones wires to like strangle two people as well.
Is that not PG? Oh, always the music playing.
And there was some other violent thing as well, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah.
Speaking of the headphone guy, in fact, I'll get on to him. I'll do question 1 first.
Okay, let's go.
Before we go into it. The questions are quite hard today, actually, because, well, there's no reason. The questions are just quite hard. So, this is the easiest one of it. So, with the keyring that Q gives Bond to do multiple things with, Phillips keyring.
Phillips. Branding.
With that, what is the tune that Bond has to begin whistling in order for the gas to be triggered from the keyring? So that is question 1. You'll hear it in Glasgow.
You will hear it.
So yeah, that is question 1. So yeah, like, I think something that was very surprising with the casting is I can't remember his name. The blonde henchman.
Yeah.
Up until this point, is just a really good henchman. He's not like a brute or anything. He will blend into everything. He's always got a white jacket.
A white jacket.
I'll be a
He's
doctor. I'll be a milkman.
Anything. Scientist.
Anything like, oh yeah, he looks like a medical professional. It turns out he's a ballet dancer.
See, I thought he must have been something like a male model, because he definitely had that physique.
He had the physique, yeah. Because it was afterwards when I was looking at the behind the scenes, and he's like, oh no, he was a dancer, and then it's him describing ballet.
All right.
And after this, see the kitchen fight scene? There's a moment he kicks the guy in the head, and it is the straightest leg I've ever seen in my life. Like, no one has ever been kicked in the face and had the attacker like point their toes like this guy.
All right.
And watch it back again, you go, dancer. He's a dancer. So yeah, I thought that was really good. This kind of silent menacing. It's adding to that like blonde villain kind of thing again.
Well, it goes back to the sort of classic Red Grant. It's kind of the sort of blonde Aryan
Very like that, actually.
bad guy.
I think this guy's more of a chameleon to Red Grant. Because again, Red Grant wasn't the main villain in From Russia with Love.
Neither is this guy.
Exactly. So,
And he was, they're the henchmen, but like Russia with Love, yes, he kind of blends in. He pretends to be that other guy to meet Bond on the train, and this time he pretends to be a milkman.
yes, and then a doctor to get out, and then a doctor again in the desert. So yeah, I really like that, and I think his like the music is like, oh, he's approaching. He's got his headphones.
he's
How
there.
strong are those headphones?
That Walkman.
Yeah, and the exploding milk bottles.
Yes.
What?
They were just sitting there. He must have planted a week before.
Yeah, I like that. I think the other bits of casting, I wasn't really that. I don't really.
Well, the thing is, I don't really know any of the other actors that were in this kind of role. This film, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what they were brought on for. Whether it was just okay.
Yeah.
You look like
What was the problem?
That's fine.
But I think there's some really contentious issue that I'm going to bring up about casting, because this annoyed me very much so as a kid, and it annoys me to this day.
Don't say it's Brad, isn't it?
It's Brad. Brad, the guy who plays Brad,
Yes.
whose name I can't remember, is a villain in this.
Brad Whitaker.
But yes, but what's the actor's name?
John Baker? No.
Don-
Someone Baker.
Something Baker. Anyway, what really annoys me about this film is I thought we'd left this in the 60s and the 70s, but this guy then comes back and plays a different role in Pierce films.
And Tomorrow, Golden? No, it was in
Tomorrow
Golden. It was
Never Dies.
GoldenEye and Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yes.
Now I thought he
plays
played
a good guy.
I thought he played the same person that was turned. For some reason, I was like, "Oh, that's Brad Whitaker," and then he must be turned a good arms dealer for the. But then he's killed.
Yeah.
With the statue, and I thought, oh, well, I
That
must have
obviously
completely
doesn't make
misremembered
sense.
that, because I assumed he played the same character.
Do you think he was? But I remember him coming out of the Z3 or whatever it is to say he works for the CIA, and I was like, no, you're an evil arms dealer.
Well,
died.
the CIA hires bad people because they've got connections. Not all bad people, but it's cheaper to hire them than kill them.
Yeah, but
Isn't that right?
but yeah, that really annoyed me. I thought we'd left this behind. The people were getting recast, and I think because it's closer to like my age, or like me actually watching these films, it was really a big disconnect for me.
Because
Because I was like,
coming back.
I know he returns, or I've seen him before.
I don't know. I thought he played the same character. But that
No, because the other guy's called Jack Wade.
Wade, that's it.
Wade, and
Maybe that's a code name for the CIA. It's never real names, is it? Is it?
is it?
So, or does he? I don't. Okay, I thought that was the same character. I thought. I don't know if they asked this guy to do it, but in the prison scene, when the prison warden person's going round,
Sort of jailer guy.
have they asked him to like impersonate like Ringo Starr?
Ringo Starr.
Yeah, he sounds like Ringo Starr, or maybe he doesn't know how to do like an English accent, but he just defaults to Ringo Starr. I don't really know why, but yeah, as you said, the casting I didn't really. I don't think there was any issues with it. It was all pretty strong. There was nothing.
It was
I could go
fine.
against.
I think the casting's okay. There obviously Gimli's in this.
Oh, so it is
The
actually.
guy
Yeah.
that plays Gimli, but I can't
John
remember
Rhys
his name.
Davis.
I was only obviously that came after this film, so
Yeah,
I don't know.
I thought he was quite
he's
again.
bigger.
He's a big theatre actor as well.
True,
So
yeah.
maybe it was
yeah,
quite a lot of theatre to add. I don't know, professionalism.
I always get him and Brian Blessed mixed up
They
because
are completely different.
no, they're not.
They are
They're
completely
big guys, big beards, and they all have big deep voices.
Was that Bane? In terms of the moments, you mentioned before about the cello case, and I completely forgot about the cello case, and then watched it again. I was like, this is the whole Aston scene is one big moment.
Yes,
Like,
the whole
Up
thing.
until this point, I think that Aston scene is, to me, I prefer that over the DB5 Goldfinger chase through the trees.
Yeah, okay.
It's quite quick, and it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to use everything all at once, but
Yeah.
everything has a bit of a purpose here, where you've got the rockets to get through the thing, you've got that like mad laser.
Well, that's an upgrade from the
Yeah.
DB5s.
This is the 80s, so we're going to use
laser.
the laser, and then you get the skis. Why?
Yeah, the skis that come out the side of it. What else? It has sort of spiked tires to help
It has a jet engine
jet engine.
in the boot, and then it blows up. Self-destruct.
Self-destruct mode.
Yeah, so
And rockets.
I like that. It was just nonsense, but it was like, this is good.
Well, I agree. That whole scene from that, the whole, like, I don't know what country they're in, Austria.
They're on the boat. No, they're in Czech Republic.
Czech Republic.
going to Austria.
So that whole scene up, the whole thing, the whole big chase, blowing up the sort of the shed that they're inside of.
Yeah, I was like, what was that? What was that attached to? I just built it. Well, we secure it to the ground. Nah. It's just a tent, a big wooden tent.
And then putting a hole in the ice and the car falling through it, and then that whole thing up till they cross the border. That whole scene is just top tier Bond.
Yeah,
10 out of 10 Bond.
I thought the cello case was actually quite interesting because there was a weird story about that where who was it? Was it John Glenn? I think John Glenn or
Continue.
John Glenn or Michael G. Wilson wanted to do a cello, like sit in a cello case and slide away.
All right,
and they thought, this would be quite good. And everyone was like, no, they don't fit in that. And then it turned out that there was an orchestra in the Pinewood Studios that day. And they said, can we borrow your cello case? And they sat and went, see if it's fine. So then they went, okay, that's fine, let's go for it. And they had to like custom built one with skis. And apparently they hated it. Like,
oh, right.
It was hard. They had to steer it. And the actress had to steer it. And she didn't like anything about it. There was like explosions going off and stuff. And I thought, it's kind of unbelievable, but at the same time it's like, well, I suppose
it's not that far-fetched. It's just like a bobsled going through the snow.
Well, they had to put skis on it because it just spins if you go on a cello case, so it wouldn't actually work. But then when I was going down, I was like, well, surely this doesn't make any sense.
Steering it with the cello.
This is going to get to a flat bit and then and then they'll get shot. But then at the end when he's got the cello and he like throws it over the barrier, and I was like,
that's cool.
That was good.
Show the passports and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what point
is that official?
Flashing it.
Like they're going to go, oh, that's fine. Okay. They're not drug smugglers, that's okay. Yeah, I like that. I think other kind of Bond moments that went through. There's actually quite a lot. So you've got there was quite a bit of attention to detail with this. There's one wee bit that I really, really liked, and it's never been shown in any other kind of movies, like Bond movies with that. So see when they are essentially covering Georgi.
Yes.
Got that guy. Don't know his name. When they're going up to cover him and they leave the opera and they're about to go out to the window and he pulls the cover over to cover his shirt to essentially blank out the white. And I was like,
that is cool.
Other movies wouldn't do that. Do you know one movie's about, no, he needs to kill in his tuxedo. But he covers that over, and as you said, when he's removing the night, essentially turning the night vision on for this incompetent man.
Yeah.
And then everything like going, oh, what rounds you going to use? Yeah. It's like, you didn't need to do that. But then it's him saying, oh no, this is why I'm going to go for essentially harder rounds because of body armour. And I'm like, right, okay, well.
That's good to
know. We never got that before, but now we know exactly why I do it. So there was a lot of attention to detail. I liked the reveal of Timothy Dalton because it was the only thing missing was like slow motion because it was when the guy gets cut and then Timothy Dalton
turns around
and it's like, there he is, there's the new Bond.
That's James, man.
And I liked the attention to detail.
The attention to detail kind of goes back to the whole professionalism thing, but also that whole attention to detail and all this sort of spy stuff, it actually makes this such a really good Cold War thriller. It's got that sort of...
Yeah, it's very Cold War,
very like us against the Russian spies and all that, and it has that sort of classic like 50s Cold War-esque film. Yeah. Which is good. And I didn't realise this till researching that the whole Ferris wheel scene in Austria is the same Ferris wheel that gets used in The Third Man. Remember that, the black and white film? Orson Welles' The Third Man.
Orson Welles again. It's the same thing. Yeah, this is a filmmaker thing, just wanting to go, I want to use that.
It was, he used the exact same set in Austria of the real Ferris wheel. They just reused that whole set. Well, it must actually be a real Ferris fairground. And what was cool about that was John Glenn was actually had like a junior assistant on that film back in the 30s.
This is why he's going back there.
And he's like, I'll go back to this.
Look
and,
how far he's come.
And that was like, obviously like a sort of pinnacle Cold War film, and this film kind of has a lot of that in it.
Yeah. Speaking of professionalism, see when he jumps over the fence and points the gun at that child.
Yeah, that's very professional.
Yeah, I think it goes back to like the whole emotion thing of him, like really caring for I can't remember her name. Cello girl.
The cello girl. I haven't got it right.
I can't remember anyone's name in this. Yeah, like that, and then when he actually gets angry.
Yeah, he gets angry.
And he's getting angry at like when he's talking to villains as well, and he's like, "Oh, we have a say in England as well, and you're full of it," kind of thing. It's like, you can't say that. It's the PG movie,
PG film.
So,
but yeah, that stuff as well. You wouldn't get that from Roger. He wouldn't get angry. Did he ever really get angry? He slapped somebody in Man with the Golden Gun, but I think that's about his.
Wasn't even anger.
It was just misogyny.
Yeah, that was just a threat. I think in terms of the moments as well, like you've got an iconic death which they always seem to like using, and that's like off the plane where him and the henchmen are fighting on the cargo.
Oh,
thing.
right. Okay.
What I don't understand about this entire scene. This is maybe the one bit I'm going to have a bit of a gripe about.
Okay.
Is so he takes the sandbag on that's got the bomb, and the plan is to blow up the heroin. So there's nothing for them to trade with. Mm-hmm. But what happens is he puts it in the plane. He can't get off the plane, so now he's trying to get off the side, and then he meets the people he's trying to hide from, and he doesn't have his face covering. And then a shootout happens.
And he has to drive the plane away.
Yeah, so then he starts to drive the plane away. And I'm like, why are you stealing the plane? The plane has a bomb in it.
Yeah.
How long did you set this for? Because you know the bomb's in there.
20-minute scene.
But you've got time to like drive the plane out to the desert, get out the plane, and then just make your way somewhere else, because that's going to blow up, and then that's the whole point. But he's going to fly it, and I thought, oh, maybe he's taking the heroin somewhere to, I don't know, to sell. And then he just leaves it all over the desert for anyone to get.
Oh yeah, because it all just falls out.
But then the whole point, I think, is like, oh no, I need to go deactivate a bomb. It's, why don't you just throw it out? It's just mountains below. But then he needs the bomb to throw on the bridge to cut off
that's
the Russians. That was the point. I was like, right, okay.
I need this bomb for the plot.
I need this bomb for 20 minutes from now. I need to blow up a bridge. Speaking of the bridge, something I really like about this movie, and a lot of it I couldn't tell until looking at the behind the scenes. And you know how I like about filmmaking and stuff like that, all the nerd details. The amount of miniatures in this movie, and you cannot tell at all.
I wouldn't have said there was any.
So, the bridge explosion is a miniature.
Right.
Can't tell.
No.
There's a real bridge, and then they built a bridge in front of it with that so you could see.
Right, okay, sure.
And then the explosion when it comes in, that was all done at Pinewood. The scene where the plane lands and they come out the Jeep, that's a miniature.
How in what way?
It's a miniature plane.
Landing.
Yeah, it's a miniature plane and a miniature Jeep that comes out with that. And then they cut to the inside where the Jeep's coming out, and then it cuts to them. And I looked at it back and I was like, I actually can't tell. I can't tell that's a miniature at all. But I think the other scenes that they did do miniatures for it, and it's just great. It's like,
some good film.
This is like good. And even John Glenn was like, I've never seen a better one today. He's not seen Helm's Deep.
He's not
Helm's Deep, the Two Towers, a miniature, and that's good. So yeah, like that, and then back to your John Glenn miniature. He loves his jump skills. His bird.
He loves his jump
randomly.
Skills.
His monkey.
The monkey and the bird, I think.
I think the monkey just because it was Gibraltar.
Yeah, it's true. But I knew he had a bird thing, so when a thing for birds. John Glenn has a thing for birds.
He does, yes.
But I didn't expect the monkey to also be a jump scare. But did you know that your favourite bird returns in this film?
Fucking parrot.
In
the kitchen? Why?
The macaw. The parrot that furthers the plot in the other film returns. He's obviously enjoying retirement in London.
Doesn't know everything though. Russian agent, Russian agent. That was the worst parrot impression.
Yeah, he never said anything.
No, do you know
But he is in it.
it's not a miniature, but in terms of how they did. So, see the scene hanging off the back of I think it's a Hercules, and they're on the cargo net.
Mm-hmm.
You see the far away shot. This was genuinely done. This was actually guys hanging off a plane.
I thought that as well. That's very dangerous. They must have been
there was a
tied
lot
to something. Hopefully,
I think there was, and they had mechanisms set up, and then the close-ups are in a studio just with like a matte painting behind it.
Yeah.
But again, the transitions you can't really tell. But a lot of it was still like, what kind of insurance do they have? Like, how did they get it? There's actually quite a lot of stunts where it's like that's very dangerous.
Especially because one part the wind is obviously so high and it's flapping about like
that was genuinely happening, but there was people
really
who could pull it in,
and that was very. Even I was like, I don't know if I would want to be doing that.
What else did it? I'm trying to think of other stunts. They weren't necessarily Bond moments, like the car going off into the snow and then having to self-destruct. That was a bit of a pain. They had to try and, I think they did that over 2 days to try and get it sorted. But I'm trying to think of other stunts as well. And it was genuinely done by stuntmen. It's like, that's quite dangerous. Just a funny bit in this movie. I just realised. See when he's trying to run away from, after he fake assassinates the head of the KGB.
Yep.
He's running over the rooftops in Tangier, and he jumps over a wall, and there's just a woman sitting there, and he's got the basket, and he like picks the basket and just goes. It's like, fuck your laundry. It's like, I couldn't stop laughing at that because I was like, what? Why did he do that?
I was laughing at the old woman trying to like stop him, just slapping him about for this, throwing his laundry about.
Probably wasn't even.
She working for the KGB as well.
She probably wasn't even an extra. You did your my roof.
This is my house.
So before we go into the other details, we're going to do question 2. And as I said, questions are only getting harder.
Oh no.
So this is quite a hard one, but it's not the hardest one. So when James Bond is captured and put onto an ambulance to go on the flight to then go to Afghanistan, he is given a fake ID so it gets past customs. What name is on that ID? Do you know that one?
I don't know.
You don't know it? No. If you don't know that, you're definitely not going to get the last one. The last one's hard. It's not the hardest question we've ever had, but it's definitely quite difficult. Hard. This is probably a good point to go into the branding. There's really only 2 that I thought. Philips, because they do
so obvious.
Yeah, they do the keychain, they do the car radio. There's quite a lot of other things they do as well. At the start, there was like J&B Scotch whiskey. They had all the brollies everywhere with the cars running through.
And do they not say that they're going to have J&B as well at the start or something like that? Or is it when Felix, remember Felix is in this film, when they have J&B?
Yeah. Do they?
They're like,
oh yeah, no, not J&B.
No, Jim Beam or something.
No. That's J&B Scotch whiskey. But I noticed when Felix goes into the boat, there's Jim Beam and Jack Daniels next to each other. I was like, oh, did you get money from both of them?
Everybody.
But you chose the Jim Beam. No, it's J&B Scotch whiskey.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
A brand I've really seen for a while. But yeah, there wasn't a lot.
Aston, I guess.
Surprisingly, there's not a lot of branding. As much as I would have thought for this.
Yeah, but the ones that are just obvious. Here's a Philips thing.
Yeah. I think in terms of the gadgets, so
the keychain.
There's a keychain.
With the sort of skeleton key on it. Yeah.
Do you know, you got the James Bond magazines when you were younger, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
So there was I think it was like, it was sad to remember, I think it was like magazine number 7.
Nerd.
And it had the breakdown of the keychain on that. Okay. And for some reason, in my head, I don't know if I dreamt this, I thought this keychain came with the magazine. This was the giveaway this week.
All right.
This deadly fucking explosive. And I was so upset that this wasn't here
Oh,
And because it was a subscription, I was like, no, I need to go to the shops and find it. And I looked through all the magazines. I was like, it's no there. Why do I not have this? My mum and dad had no idea. Like, oh, it's a key, maybe someone else get the keychain. They didn't know I was actually talking about an actual weapon.
an actual explosive
But just
device.
explosive, it's tear gas. It's like I couldn't fathom that this was not in the magazine. Something was wrong. So there's that, which is interesting. I don't really know why I got to explode because that's a bit of a waste. But then it's needed for the
car
plot.
explodes.
The binocular specs. It's very 80s. He's in the car. And
Okay.
the thing he's looking at, or the person he's looking at, is 40 yards away. But he's like, very incognito.
Precise. Yep.
And obviously, when we go back to the Q branch, there's the ghetto blaster.
The ghetto blaster is quite funny.
Do you know the story about the detonation of that?
No,
So-
I don't actually.
So the way the props work is the guy holds the thing with the music
the
that's
rocket.
also blaring through the headphones of the killer.
Into his ear.
Yes, and it fires the rocket. So obviously,
Yep.
this doesn't actually work. There's someone with a detonator who lights it and it fires off. The person who detonated that in the movie
Right.
was Prince Charles, now King Charles.
Oh, was it?
Who did
Wow.
that, yeah. Him and Diana.
Back when they were on good terms.
Went to the set one day to view it around.
I knew that they visited. I didn't know they did
So
this.
there was a scene where she breaks a stage bottle over him.
Yeah,
and that was
I've seen that. A big
thing.
press shoot. Yeah.
And they asked him if he wanted to press the button for the detonator. So they were rolling, and then they pressed that, it fired, and then that was him.
That's cool.
Is it?
I think that's cool.
Is it? The king did it. But yeah, so
Is the ghetto blaster nothing else that he uses, but I do like the the couch that folds in and swallows that guy.
why was it? The guy sat like nothing was going to happen, and then Q just sits there. Oh, that's him now.
It's as if they did tell that extra what was going to happen.
It's kind of, it reminded me of when I saw it. It reminded me a lot of, when it gets into the Pierce movies and it's becoming a bit more comical. And you've got like the phone booth and Goldeneye. You've got the jacket and like the world's not enough.
Yeah,
where it kind of takes out. It reminded me a lot of that. It's
Yeah.
quite funny.
Yeah.
That's where the comedy in the movie comes from, where all
Yeah.
these just like mad gadgets appear.
Yeah, well, Q becomes sort of comedy, kind of mad scientist.
Yeah.
He
We need
just-
to be. We've also got the new Moneypenny, the first ever
Oh,
new
that's
Moneypenny.
right.
And all right.
She is what she is. Is she Lois Lane? Or does she just look a lot like a Lois Lane from the Superman
I don't know.
Superman
I
films?
don't really know much about it. I've not seen many Superman films. I've seen
Neither
Man of
have I.
Steel and that's it.
I don't even think I've seen that. I've seen half of
So how do you know who Lois Lane is?
because everybody knows who Lois Lane is.
Well,
I've seen. Have I seen? I haven't seen Man of Steel, but I have seen half of Batman versus Superman.
what, the first half and the second half?
I think like the middle third.
Oh, why?
I don't know.
Did you show up late and then get...
No,
like,
I was
I'm
trying to
never
wa-
following this, I'm leaving.
I was trying to watch it at home, and then I would like fall asleep at the end or something.
Batman v Superman has its flaws. We'll get back to James Bond in a second. However, there is a fight scene in it.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone who's listened to this and seen the movie knows there's a warehouse fight scene, and it is one of the best
I've seen
Batman
that.
fight scenes or just fight scenes
I've seen that.
where he just takes on everybody. And I was like, that could have been the movie.
Yeah.
I'd have paid just to walk in and just watch her go, I liked that. That was
Yeah.
good. Anyway,
Anyway, so she's not Lois Lane
she might be. I don't know.
because she does have that sort of sexy secretary look.
Mhm. Why did you put that voice on it? Is that her voice?
her
She's only in
voice.
for 2 movies as well.
She must come and go. She must
Come and go.
come and go with Timothy.
Maybe.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's it. Well,
I
yeah,
thought-
because she has
yeah.
to be recast for Pierce. So does
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I thought she was alright.
She was forgettable.
Yeah.
Basically.
I think most people are just like, you're not Moneypenny. We've had Moneypenny for decades now.
yeah, like 25 years or something
Yeah.
at that point.
Not too bad. I think just when we're talking about things that were maybe not funny or things that kind of should have been changed is like the lines and there's not that many lines from Timothy Dalton, which is where I think the
one-liners.
comedy comes from with Sean and Roger and even George. Like, there needs to be the one-lines or iconic lines, and there wasn't really any. There's only two that I've got noted,
Yeah, I think I've got two.
and one that's kind of comical is he got the boot
Yeah.
from that because, well, it was there. Don't know why didn't they just grab onto the other bits of net around
Yeah,
them.
why didn't you just hold
But
on to the net?
the plot doesn't need that. What was your other line?
My one was salt corrosion.
Oh, right, when the
With
car
the
goes
laser.
round. It's almost like he's just like an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
wait, are you telling me you can't smell the burning? I can't hear it coming
You
through?
can't see all the rockets going off.
I've opted for some additional extras, and it's like,
This button says self-destruct.
yeah.
Yeah, she is.
Big red button.
She has a bit of a sort of ditzy kind of blonde character. Like, she's good, but she kind of.
He's looking ahead, just going, "What are you doing here?" And it's like he's doing everything down there. There's like targets going beep 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 beep
Yeah,
beep beep.
and she just thinks everything's
Oh,
normal.
This is fine. This is must not come with modern cars.
Cars in the West have this.
A line I had. It's not a Bond line, and it's not really funny either. But I thought it'd been. It's kind of been written in. I don't know, like a nod, or maybe I'm reaching there.
Okay,
So see when. I'm going to say Wade. It's not Wade.
Whittaker.
Whittaker. Whittaker
It is.
has the rifle or submachine gun,
with
and
the
it's
shield?
got, and it's got this glass on it. You know that bit of glass that only covers his head and neck,
Yeah.
that exposes every other bit of his body,
Yeah.
his large body.
Yeah. Why does James Bond shoot the glass?
You can't get it first time. Try somewhere else. So when he's shooting at that and he fires, it hits off everything, and he says, "You've had your 8. Now I've got my 60
or something. He
or
says,
80
yeah.
or something like that." And I was like, that's an odd line to say. And I was like, but then again, it's almost like you've had your 6.
Yeah, I didn't actually think of that.
But Whittaker knows what type of weapon he has straight away because obviously it's come in,
Mm-hmm.
and he knows exactly how many rounds is left.
Because he's an arms dealer. He'll
Yeah,
know
so he's
everything.
counted it and he's like, "You've had your 8 now." And I was like, that's an odd way of saying it. Exactly the same way that Sean said it in the
Yeah.
first movie. I was like, "You ain't your James Bond."
That is pretty good. Maybe that is a link. I didn't know that. That's
hope
pretty
it
cool.
is.
I like that.
I hope Michael G. Wilson watches this episode and says,
Yeah.
"Yes, I did. I wrote that in for that reason." But yeah, it's not funny. I just, like, I was watching, I went,
Yeah, a little nod.
"I hear what you are, Wade Whittaker." That should have been the thumbnail.
Yes, that really annoys me.
So we've had the lines, the gadgets, the moments, the branding, the casting, kinda. Again, there wasn't really a lot to talk about the casting, but
I think we could talk about how this is John Barry's final James Bond score.
is it?
This is it goes
quite
out
sad.
with a bang, I think, because it's a good one
Mm-hmm.
and it's a fantastic song. I love this.
That is a good song, yeah.
song. And he just kind of. Apparently they had such a bad relationship with Aha that kind of caused him to say, "I've had enough."
Really? Is that why? Okay.
Yeah.
Did he do the score for the 80s murder head section?
Yes, he made those songs as well. And what was quite cool is they gave him a cameo, which was good. He is the conductor of the orchestra at the very end.
Oh, is he?
That's John Barry,
That's quite nice.
which is quite a nice
that's
send-off.
a good ending with that. Where did they go after that? The Cayman Islands.
He went off to count his money for the next 20 years.
HMRC not allowed. That's nice. That's actually a nice wee send off. A nice wee send off for him. This legendary composer. Does that mean he didn't do License to Kill?
No.
So I'm sure he did. Because I really liked License to Kill and I thought it was David Arnold. But then when I looked at it, it said it was John Barry.
When is... You sure?
I don't know. I'm sure a while back I found out that License to Kill was composed by John Barry. But then again, as you said,
License to
he
Kill.
never does 2 in a row.
Soundtrack album by Michael Kamen. So no.
Who's Michael Kamen?
Good question.
I don't know. We'll find that out in the next episode. Who are you, Michael?
There you go. Because the usual composer, John Barry, was not available, the soundtrack was more upbeat and suspenseful, conducted by Michael Kamen.
Okay, thanks, Michael.
So yeah, so this is definitely his last one. What I really like is a recent thing is AHA have done a MTV Unplugged version of
I've seen that
this in like 2017, and they're all sitting on stools.
Mhm.
It's very good.
I actually seen the thumbnail for that, and I didn't know what AHA looked like until I seen it. I went, oh, they're quite old, but obviously that's
Yeah, it was 40 years
decades
ago.
later. Yeah.
But yeah, and they also, he's actually, unlike everyone else from the 80s, he looks pretty good.
He does look pretty good, yeah.
And he was also on the UK's version of The Masked Singer last season.
What was he singing?
He sang his own song. I'm pretty sure he sang Take On Me, and I was like, that sounds an awful lot like the original.
That's the man.
And then it turned out it was him.
That cheating.
I know, surely can't do that.
Mm.
But maybe that's why he was put out first.
Oh,
It's
right.
like,
That's
well,
it. He didn't want to be there. He wanted to just get the paycheck and go home.
yeah, basically. But anyway, I can't pronounce your name because it's in Swedish or something, so
I thought they were Danish.
it's not English.
Norwegian. Nordic.
Do you know my favourite conspiracy theory is that there's no such country as Finland? That it's all a ruse and a hoax. That it's just the military border between Russia and the middle country, Sweden. That there's actually nobody in Finland, and have you ever met a Finnish person and all that? And everyone's like, no, I've never met a Finnish person. It's like, it's not real. It's just a buffer zone.
No, it's a. You ever heard the radio thing of the Finnish goalkeeper in Scotland? I can't remember his name, and I can't remember who he plays for. But this guy calls in to like a football talk-in and says, "You know what? I think would be a good. You know, we don't have a good Scottish goalkeeper like for the Scottish national team. I think he should be." Go give them. They were like, that guy who plays for that team. I think it'd be great. And they went, no, he's not Scottish. He's Finnish. He's like, he's what? And he's like, he's Finnish. And he's like, he's not Finnish. He's only 23. And they were like, no, he's from Finland. He's like, oh, is he?
But anyway,
Classic
that
Scottish football chat.
That's good chat. But yeah, that was my favourite conspiracy. Apart from the fact that
Finland is real, though.
Glenn Kamara, I'm sure, is Finnish.
Yes. They have a national football team who played in the Euros.
And
if anyone's a Leeds fan,
and we know
he's
a Finnish
definitely
person as well, so...
Do we? You can't remember their name, or you don't want to say their name? Is it because they will kill you because the country doesn't exist?
Yeah, is it Marie or something? Remember we did the recording with her?
Yeah.
She's from Finland.
Okay.
I can remember how you say her name.
Hi, Marie. Apparently Finland doesn't exist.
Yeah, but it obviously does because we know two people.
That doesn't mean the place doesn't exist.
Or maybe they're all in on it.
Maybe it's all a conspiracy. Tune in next time. Anywho, before we go any more down this rabbit hole,
What do you think?
The audience are like, what the fuck are they talking about now? They've spoke about other movies and now they're talking about like in their own conspiracy theories on no basis. So let's go into the ranking. Now, I have made a boo-boo. Yeah.
Jeez, it spent fast.
Oh, actually, no, we've got the third question, actually.
Yeah, you've got a third question. I thought that.
This is a really hard one. So, brace yourself.
Mm.
In the Aston Martin, when they're driving around, Bond, or his passenger, points out that that's the police frequency that James Bond has picked up in Aston Martin. What frequency is it? I think that's a very hard question.
That is a very hard one.
On his Philips car radio.
But I do have it. I've got that written down.
You've got that? You know that answer?
I know that. Because that was my third question, my hardest question.
All right, but you don't know the second question?
No, I don't know the second.
The name, the ID. Well,
my questions were far easier. I was building into it. Mine, my first one, if you want some bonus questions, everybody, is what 00 was killed in Gibraltar? What agent that was? My first one, 00 whomever. And the second one was Koskov says that caviar is peasant food in his country, but what does Bond call the foie gras? He calls it a specific word, who he then he agrees with. That was my two questions. And then the hard one was the police radio.
No, I wanted hard questions. I want to test everybody. You've been here long enough. It's time to be tested, challenged, stretch those brain synapses. No, you don't want to stretch those at all. So, as I was mentioning there before, I forgot about the question number 3. I have made a boo-boo. I have started the year off wrong. I have misplaced the Living Daylights magnet for our board. But we instead have an alternative. We have...
Do we?
Yes, we have a black pen that we can write the name on. So,
okay.
I think, is it you going first or am I going first?
It's me that goes first.
So you're going first. You're writing the name you want it to be.
God.
And then I get to rub it off and put it where I want it to be, if that's the case.
It's wrong. But
yes.
It's not wrong. It's never wrong when I do it.
So I'm going to go get the board. Why don't you tell the good folks what to do? In fact, you know what? Actually, no. I'm not telling them to subscribe. Do what you want. Subscribe, like it, share with your friends.
Yeah, well, you've just said it there. Another iconic moment that I've just remembered there. Well, I think it's iconic. It's another reference. When he fake kills the general and then Necros, the henchman, shines the lamp on him, and it's as if it's the gun barrel scene because he swivels round and shoots him, and it's all... Oh no, the TV's gone.
For those watching, to finish up our show, we have lost the poster. So you'll just have to look at the sources icon as Jack writes the Living Daylights where he thinks it should go in the ranking.
I hope you can read my left-handed writing.
You are left-handed?
Yes.
So what other writing are you going to do? Right. I could probably just move things around it, couldn't I? Rather than
you could move things around it.
So,
what do you think of my... Shall I tell the people where I think it is?
So you've put it in 5th place.
Yes.
So it's currently Goldfinger from Russia with Love, Octopus, The Spy Who Loved Me, The Living Daylights, Man with the Golden Gun, Live and Let Die.
Yeah. I would say that is it's a strong film, a strong start to an actor I think maybe at the time was kind of not liked as much because everybody was so used to Roger, but I think coming at it from our 21st century angle where we know Daniel Craig as the rough, ready, tough Bond, violent, then this is it's a cliche to say he was a precursor to that. He walked so that Daniel Craig could run. But yes. But yeah, I think looking back at this with a modern audience, they would really love the Timothy Dalton films, if you like the Daniel Craig films. But will I be seeing that next time? We'll have to wait and see. Right, I've eked this out enough, Derek.
This is where I put 11 Daylights.
Right, okay.
And you actually can't change this.
I can't change anything this week, nah. Can I see? Oh my god.
Now only just is it not making Goldfinger.
Right.
Purely because
you mean it's like nearly number 1?
Yes. Because it has more moments than the other movies, or on par with that. It has obviously good stunts. It has a lot of good filmmaking. It doesn't have any pacing issues.
No.
The thing that I really liked about From Russia with Love was the henchman and the fight, at which point we had the same henchman and the fight. It was Cold War kind of twists and turns.
Yeah. Double bluffs.
The only reason why I've not put it above Goldfinger is because I didn't want to. No, Goldfinger to me I think it just has a lot more iconic characters. I think with Goldfinger. I think that's it. I could rewatch Goldfinger more than I could rewatch The Living Daylights, but I did really like The Living Daylights.
I really like The Living Daylights as well. Is it better than From Russia? Is it more like, I don't know, revered? I don't know.
I think the whole pace, Russian of it is really good, but I think
it does have a pacing issue with the gypsy fight.
Yes.
This maybe doesn't have so many pacing issues from The Living Daylights because
it has
so much is happening.
It's got diamonds, it's got drugs, it's got weapons, it's got defectors that aren't defectors, it's got expediting people from countries. It's got a plane fight, it's got a car chase, it's got a car snowmobile chase, it's got a cello chase.
Cello chase.
It's got snipers that are trying to shoot people. It's got cello players. It's got a man who killed by an automated door. It's got balloons. It's got people killed with Walkman headphones.
Yeah.
What more could you want from it?
Yeah,
I just think there's a lot through it, and I think the iconic things in these other movies, it does have an Aston Martin, a more modern Aston Martin, fully kitted.
Yeah.
It has the
Daniel rings
almost novel accurate James Bond with it.
Mm-hmm.
And he does have gadgets, and he does kill people, and he's not afraid to fire his weapon and go mad. It's got the Mujahideen as well, who turn out to be the Taliban. But
yeah, I was going to talk about that. But
yeah, I think I don't know. You're probably going to change that at some point next week, where it will have the actual magnet for Living Daylights.
So the countdown from 0
yes,
to
of course. If you're not
you're
watching
audio
us,
only,
then Jack, why don't you take it from the bottom?
From the bottom. So in last place is Doctor No. Then we have Thunderball, Moonraker, You Only Live Twice, For Your Eyes Only, A View to a Kill, Diamonds Are Forever, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, 11 Let Die, The Man with the Golden Gun, and in fifth place we have The Spy Who Loved Me, fourth place Octopussy, third place From Russia with Love, and second place The Living Daylights, but still the best James Bond film so far. In top place is Goldfinger.
So there we go. Do you agree or disagree? I know many people who will be going mad.
Be smashing their screens.
Yes, will not like it at all. So that has been good. That has been good to revisit, to get back at it. And the next episode is, ironically, we started and then we're going to finish the next episode where it is Timothy's last outing as James Bond, and I'm sure we'll find out why it's his last outing.
We'll find out. Do we have to wear tuxes?
No. We'll do tuxes for the end of the Pierce Brosnan one.
Right.
Because essentially, as we found out at the start of this, Pierce Brosnan and Timothy Dalton are interchangeable, apparently.
Yes.
So, yeah, we'll do it at the end of the Pierce Brosnan one. But yes, thank you very much for joining us on this episode. We will see you next time.
The podcast will return. Da-da-da-da.
Wrap that. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bonus episode.
Bonus clip.
Right,
so there's an infamous deleted scene which you'll see on YouTube, no problem, when James Bond is trying to escape Tangier.
Mm-hmm.
When that old lady slaps him about for hitting the washing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a famous scene that was probably written for when it was going to be.
I know exactly what this is.
Going to be Roger Moore, where he escapes by riding on a carpet, and he goes past all these people, and it's as if he's riding a magic carpet.
It makes sense, why? Because he kind of got on the wires, so he throws that over to protect himself the wires and come down. But it was cut just because they thought this
doesn't suit Timothy.
No, I think they just said it didn't really. Yeah, but
maybe it would give a laugh to a serious scene.
Yeah, but then when you look back, you're like, maybe that was the best.
It was probably the best decision to do that.
It's one of those ones where you watch, it's like, okay, that's your bonus clip for this week.
Bonus clip was there was supposed to be some racial.
This isn't racist enough.
Yeah, I wouldn't make it anymore these days.
No.
Back in my day, though.
Yeah, back in my day of You Only Live Twice. Can we make him look more Afghan?